And welcome back. Municipalities, businesses and shareholders owed by the now-defunct VBS Mutual Bank have a limited time to lodge their valid claims in the doomed financial institution, as it's been described. VBS liquidator Anoosh Rooplal has told creditors, who include municipalities, suppliers, retailers and permanent shareholders, that they have until May the 21st to lodge their valid claims. Rooplal has, however, also warned that there is no certainty that claims will be accepted by the Master of the High Court, or that any amount of their money claims will eventually be made available. He joins us now. Very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us. So having said that last sentence, what does the claim really signify?
So good evening to you and the listeners. A claim really is the opportunity for a creditor to lodge in the prescribed format the particulars of the claim, and for that to be commissioned so that creditors can be recognized as the legal claimant in the estate of VBS Mutual Bank.
So what are you basically doing? You are helping the claimants to go through the legal process, is that it?
100%. So my team is on the ground tomorrow and Friday. That's the 20th and 21st of May at the Coroni Hotel in Tuyando between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And the team is there really to assist a large number of individual creditors, to come forward to complete those claim forms. We are there to assist them to complete that, for that document to be commissioned, so that this can be then lodged, as a valid claim document in the estate.
So the initial stages, what is the process that, for those who feel that they are owed by VPS, that they should follow in order to get their monies back? As in, how would they prove that they are indeed claimants, legitimate claimants?
Thank you. So the team, like I said, is on standby if you're an individual, and we're looking at a large, approximately 800, creditors that have not lodged their claims, particularly a lot of them being in the Tuyando, Limpopo region. And, that's the assistance we wanted to provide them. Although not required for me, I'm going over and above to assist these creditors to lodge their claims, and so that they can be recognized in the estate. So individuals have to bring in identity documents, their ID documents. If you're representing a stockpile, a burial society, or a corporate, please bring through your delegation of authority or the founding documents that proves, you are in fact a legitimate claimant in the estate. So that's more or less the process we're following, and we're asking for those documents to please, be produced on the day, tomorrow and Friday, that is.
So is it correct that this is the very last chance to do this?
Yes, so this is the third and a special meeting of creditors. It's important to note that there were two meetings held prior to this. The first and second meeting where, a lot of creditors did come forward and lodge claims. So those have been noted. We're really affording a final chance for creditors to do so. And this is not to be confused, with the 100,000 rands, which was guaranteed and which were transferred to Nedbank. So in other words, if you had 100,000 and less, you can still claim those monies at any Nedbank branch in full. If, for example, you had 130,000 Rand deposit with the bank, you will get your 100,000 Rand, provided you're a qualifying creditor at a Nedbank branch. You would then lodge a claim for the remaining 30,000, by completing these claim forms and lodging that as part of this process. You may not get all of that 30,000 Rand back in this example. That's what the liquidation process is about. It's really about collecting assets on the one hand and, turning that into cash, and then, of course, distributing that to creditors at the end of the day in whatever proportion that may be, with whatever cash that we do collect. So that really is, in a nutshell, what the liquidation process is about.
I'm so glad that you make that distinction, because with regards to that 100,000 Rand, there's some complainants who are saying that money is not enough, that they received from the bank. It's not even enough to keep them afloat. It was not what they owed. So just please help us understand the distinction.
Okay, so unfortunately, when an entity is in liquidation, it's obviously suffered some financial distress, which means that it cannot, pay back all its creditors in full. Hence, the entity is placed into a liquidation, and it's really meant as a mechanism and a safeguard to collect whatever assets are remaining in that estate. And, we are employing various collection strategies, to collect as much money and assets that belongs to the estate, convert that to cash, and distribute that to creditors. So it's an important distinction. I understand that some creditors may not get all their money back, but that is why the guarantee, the 100,000, was there to help a lot of what we termed as the vulnerable creditors at the time. So if you were owed 100,000 less, you pretty much got back all your money, and 98% of all of those creditors have in fact received those monies of 100,000 and less. We're now really focusing on those people that had more than 100,000.
And if I'm correct, there was a claim of nearly 180 million rand, is that correct, by the liquidator?
Sorry, you'd have to clarify that.
I believe that Bophelo Benefit Services had lodged a claim of nearly 180 million rand in the liquidation of VBS. So I'm just trying to understand, out of how many people is this money that's being divided amongst?
Yeah, so we will know the final numbers once, we run this process in terms of, whichever creditors do come forward. We will then have a defined, listing of proven creditors. And that obviously would vary according to what's owed, the various amounts that are owed to different classes of creditors. And we would then follow a process to distribute the cash according to the amounts that's owed, on a pro rata basis. So very difficult to give you exact numbers at this point. But we are moving to quantify that universe.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, VBS liquidator Anoosh Rooplal. And I believe I was going to ask you this question, but they have noted that if the account holder is deceased, that the executor of the estate would have to then approach the bank to access the funds.